Hello everyone, my name is Mouse Tutorial and today I'm going to show you how to make the most basic block for Minecraft. Now, first, don't forget to check out my forum thread. It is on the MinecraftForum. The link will be in the description. Here you can also see the text tutorials. I wrote a bit about the text tutorials. And you can also watch every episode really easily. You can read a bit about my tutorials and stuff like that. So, back to our coding. I have added a few lines since the last tutorial, but these are just tips and tricks and what this is about. Just information if you read my GitHub account. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna make the most basic block in the game. So it has no texture yet, it has no name yet. It's just a block with one or two maybe things that it has different. Okay. Now in order to keep my main file clean, as I like to do, I'm gonna call something modblocks.init. So this is gonna be a method in modblocks init, which is gonna do all the stuff for us. So I'm gonna create a class inside com martijn mouse.mods.blocks. So I'm going to create that new package and I'm going to call the class modblocks. Now in this class I'm going to do everything. I'm going to load the blocks, I'm going to register the blocks, I'm going to basically everything for the blocks. So let's make a constructor for this. Public static void init. And what do we do in order to make a block? Cool. So right before you make the init, and once again the init is what gets called from here. So the main mod file calls the init, which is this. So what we want to do is we want to create a block. So that we do that in the following way. Above the init, write public static block and your block name. In this case I'm gonna do base block. So our name of our block is base block, and it's gonna give us an error because we need to import. Now when we press Ctrl+Shift+O, it gives us a pop-up of which we want to import. Make sure you import net.minecraft.block.block. Cool. So this is the first step for making a block, initializing it. Second step is actually calling a class which holds information about the block. We do that as following. Base block is new, and now we're going to create a new class which holds the information about the block, which is going to be base block. So we are going to create a new class called base block. Now I need to give it a little bit of information so it can work. Now in this case I'm going to give it a block ID. Now the block ID, I think all you guys know about it, but it needs to be different for each and every block. It needs to be higher than 256, I guess, and lower than 4096. So choose a number in between that, for example 3000. Okay, so now we got that reference to our new class. Now it's going to pop us an error because that class does not exist yet, but just create it like this. So now we have that class, and it's going to pop an error again because we have no constructor. So public base block, and we need an integer which is the ID. Cool. Now since we are extending block, we need to give it, we need to cast something to the superclass. So we're going to cast something to the superclass. Now in order to cast to the block superclass, we need to give it two parameters. First one is the block ID, and again we have set that in here. So base block already knows we have an ID, and we're gonna pop that to the superclass. Now we also need to give it a material name. How do I know I need an ID and a material? Good question. When you press Ctrl and click on block, you can see the block class. Now if you scroll down to the constructor of block, right here, you can see that it needs a par1 and a par2 material. So in this case the par1 is the ID and the par2 is a material, as you can see, block material. So we need to give it an ID and a material. Cool. So in this case, we're gonna say it is material.rock. Yeah, this is the way you can give it a material. Just call the material class and give it a property rock. Cool. Now, in order for this block to actually be in the game, we need to give it we need to register it. We need to say, okay, this block is in the game. How do we do that? We go back to our modblocks class and we type game registry dot register block. Now you can see all these register blocks. There are 5 of them. And notice the little line on the first 2. This means that they are deprecated and you probably shouldn't use them. So you basically always want to use the third one, which is block string. So we need to give it a block, which is base block. And we need to give it a string of the name of the block. Now, in order to collect all the names in one file, I'm going to do this a little bit different. You can do it like this and give it a name right here. But I like to do it different. And that is create a new class in a lib called strings. Cool. And inside strings, we're going to create public static final string base block underscore name, and that is going to be equal to base block. So now we can call that by using strings dot base block name. So now we don't have the string right here. We have it in a class which will hold all the names of all the blocks in our for our mod. Why do I do this? Well, if I need to change one name of a block, I already know it's in strings. It's really easy to find it because it's all bundled together. When we are going to the next tutorial, we're going to create like 1,000 block IDs. Now it's really easy to keep all those block IDs together in one class. So that's why I'm doing it like this. Okay, so now we have registered that block, so the game actually knows that it is in. Basically this is kind of done. I just want to go over it one more time and give you one more bit of information. Okay, so what it is going to do, it's going to go to the pre-init. That's going to be handled by Forge, so Forge automatically goes to the pre-init. Now it's going to call modblocks.init, which is the class modblocks and the method init. Okay, so class modblocks, method init. Okay, we are creating base block, and we're calling that to the base block class. And we're giving it the property 3000, which is an integer, in this case the ID. So it's going to go to this class. Okay, we got 3000, and what do I need to do with this? Okay, I'm going to cast it to the superclass, giving it the ID 3000 and the material rock. Cool. Now that is done, I can register the block, and we are done. Now I'm just gonna want to give you one bit of information, just one more property of a block. If we open up the Minecraft project, go to CRC, scroll down to net.minecraft.block, and open up block.java. Scroll, in my case, up, but you will see this big lines of codes. Now, when we go to, let's say, stone, we can see all these properties. Set hardness, resistance, step sound, and localized name, and something else. These are all properties you can give it. So the hardness is how long do you have to mine it, how strong is the block. Resistance is how well can it stand TNT and stuff like that. So let's say I want something stronger than stone but less than obsidian. Then I'm gonna look, okay, the hardness of stone is 1.5 F and obsidian is 50 F. So I want to give it a property 25 F. How am I gonna give it the property 25 F? Well, go to your base block again, where you're gonna call it to the superclass and say this dot set hardness. Now we need to give it a float 25F. Cool. Now let's also give it a resistance, why not? So resistance of obsidian is 2000, so basically it cannot be broken by TNT. Stone is 10F, and most of them are 5F, so why don't we give it 25F? So this dot set resistance 25F. Cool. So let's now run the program. First save it, then run it. And in order to show you that it is actually working, I need to do one more thing. Sorry for that. I need to give it a creative tab. So what you want to do is this dot set creative tab, creative tabs dot tab combat. So once again, we'll give it a property, creative tab. Now, in which creative tab? Well, there's a collection of creative tabs in the class creative tabs, and from that collection I want to give it the tab combat. So, wrong one. Need to run that. Close. Close. And I haven't saved it, so okay. Don't forget to save stuff, and don't forget to run the right program. Okay, so save and run modded. Now remember that if you are creating blocks new, you might want to create a new world. For this time it's not that important, but if you can't find your block, try to create a new world, maybe that fixes it. So when I go to tab combat, you can see the new block is actually in the game. Yeah, it has no texture yet, it has no name yet, but we will fix that in the next coming tutorials. But this is how you create a basic block. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.